keynote on.
Thank you. On busyness versus business, it's really something that is targeted to engage with startups, scale-ups mainly. One of the things that we noticed working at OVHcloud is how difficult it is actually to organize and scale the business development of a tech company, especially when you are offering something that everybody will use or is using. How do you get efficiency so you can truly scale your business? And the purpose of this keynote is not to give you or to lecture you or to teach you anything. It's really about sharing the experience of how challenging it is and give you some of the tools that we used along the way in order to initiate a virtuous growth, something that is sustainable, something that lasts over time. That's really what we are willing to go for. I have one slide, actually, so it's a bit embarrassing to have my picture. So if you don't mind, I'd rather switch that. And then I have one slide for the entire keynote, only one slide. So I will switch to this slide when it's time. So it's very important that you understand that, okay, I'm not here to pitch you OVHcloud. Actually, I'm here to pitch you how many mistakes we made, a few things that we believe we are doing well, knowing that there is nothing really for sure in this world. It's very hard to predict what comes next. So that's really the few tips. And to make it kind of simple to understand, but also very much actionable, I would like to suggest something that is overly simple. I move here, sorry. I'm on stage because I'm not tall enough. Okay, sorry. Everything that we created at OVHcloud since we started really business development, which is not that long ago. OVHcloud is a company that was born in 1999, but the sales activity started in 2016, right? So everything before, there was no sales activity at all. It was only online and so on. So as we started, we took it very seriously, but we tried to be very pragmatic. So the only thing we care about is to find a framework so every employee can relate to the fact, okay, now we're going to do business development and we are going to try to be good at it. So what we decided to go for as a framework is a treasure hunt. Let me ask you, did you already organize treasure hunt for your kids, even for yourself, for your friend, everything? You need 3 things to organize a treasure hunt. Do you know what those 3 things are? You need a map, you need a treasure, and you need a compass, right? And those 3 things are actually the pillars of our playbook. So anyone that is joining our organization or anyone that is working in our organization and that is becoming a sales rep or that is engaging with the market and prospect and so on can relate to this playbook and very quickly, simply understand what is it that we need to do. Because there is one thing that is extremely complicated with business development, that unlike other functions in any company or organization, it doesn't come with someone that has done something before and someone that is going to do something after. The people that are at the forefront of engaging with the market, they have to create this engagement. So how do we do about that, and how do we become efficient about that? I'm not going to present you all the tools about our playbook, but I'm going to share with you the most important one, that is the map. Because when you understand the map, then you will understand why you need a compass, how you can define the treasure, and most importantly, I will show you on the map where we made mistakes, and hopefully you can relate to that and not make those mistakes. This is the map. It's very simple. On the vertical axis, you have the value of a transaction. I don't know if you guys sell, you account for annual revenue or monthly revenue. This is basically the value of the transactions, right? On the horizontal axis, it is the need of support to make it happen. Basically, how many pair of hands you need to actually get the market to buy from you. It is super important to have this map. Let me explain to you why. Very simply put, if you understand that you have transactions that are actually low value and you have a lot of people taking care about them, you made a huge mistake. And you have no idea how many startups we are meeting on daily basis that are making these mistakes. This one, it's very interesting. The one that we call opportunity sales is actually, very simply put, this is the kingdom of your digital business, right? Very few pair of hands, most of the time volumes, and it's a game of transactions and so on. The one that is on the upper left side is the sweet spot. Everybody wants to own this one. This is the kingdom of large transactions, very few support. And then the second, the last one that is the consultative sales is the other big mistakes that is made by many organizations. This is what our CEO, Michel Paulin, calls the pink elephant room. This is where you will find the public sector being interested in your solutions, the Airbus and the General Electric and the likes willing to meet with you because it sounds super interesting. This is a big trap here. We're going to talk about it later. So now, how to relate to that to your organization? What's important here for you is to understand here, where do you put the border here? What defines the low RPU, the low RPAC, the low level of transactions, and what defines the most interesting one? It's extremely important. Let me give you the journey of OVHcloud since I joined, so that sales started in 2016, I joined in 2017. The border was at 450 euros. 450 euros per month, that was the border here. That was the limit. Anything above, we would consider it as something that is our sweet spot, and we will have a specific execution. Anything under, it's a different execution. Nowadays, the value of this border is more like 5,000 euros. So the first lesson learned here is that you cannot build up and be efficient if you keep the same border definition of the value of your transactions. Because as you mature, as you are gaining tractions, and as you are experiencing your go-to-market, you will change the targeted audience that you are willing to go for, but also even the maturity of your transactions. So that's the first lesson I would like you to keep in mind. This matrix is extremely important because you have to have your people or your organizations or even yourself really dedicated to the spot you want to own. There is a natural flow. The area where we are acquiring the most customers is here, in digital. The challenge is then to understand which one of those that we're acquiring that are not yet to the level of my border, but that I can decide to expatriate to my sweet spot. Let me give you an example. We have thousands of transactions on daily basis on our websites. We are blessed for that. People coming in and out, whether it's for domain name or whatever, and actually some of them have a profile that we have learned to understand that they belong to the sweet spot. So we are very clear about who they are, and we can start to engage with them at this level and then take them up to the sweet spot. The second big mistakes we made very early on actually is that people and salespeople especially get very excited early on this one, okay? The consultative sales. Like, I don't know if you have salespeople in your organizations or if you are the sales yourself and so on, I would ask you genuinely if you can be vulnerable enough to admit that from time to time you get excited when you receive a phone call from a large logo or from one of your colleagues coming back and saying, you know what, I don't know, EDF, French electricity provider, just called me or left me a voicemail or whatever. This is a big trap. Okay, this is something that you have to understand. This is the kingdom of busyness. Okay, this is where most of the sales reps are running like chicken without the head. It's very important to understand that, and it's super important to have the leadership and the understanding to say no. The path from startup to scale up is really on the left side. Doesn't mean that you are not going to go there, but it will take some time, and you have to have enough incumbent customer base and solid customer base with loyalty to afford going there. What we see with our startups is that most of the time, the salesperson is the founder, right? And wearing multiple hats and everything. And it's very difficult for the founder, as you are looking for, immediate or very quickly some initial users, to run away from this area. So I have to confess and acknowledge that it's easy to say, but it's not simple to implement. That I know. But it's super important that you understand that it is very difficult to emerge as a scale-up when you are a startup, when you are starting with the upper right. Or you need to have, deep pocket so you can last over time and build up. So that's the map. And what we like people to do is actually to really understand where each transaction should sit. And associated to that, each people need to understand what should be their execution. So at OVHcloud, it's very simple. All the transactions that are sitting down bottom left, we have digital salespeople. Sounds simple, but their job is to acquire traffic and maximize the efficiency of the traffic. It's a job by itself, right? And I'm sure most of you can relate to that. And that's their job. And then it has ramifications with the way we market some of our products. Some products are more designed for those transactions. And therefore, they are all having meetings in order to maximize the efficiency of this quadrant. Then the one that we have on the top left is the one that, obviously, we have identified profile of customers which relationship to our product and promise is pretty good. They don't need handholding. They don't value you calling every week to check in or to whatever, propose meeting and so on. They know their stuff, they consume, and they know how to buy our product. We just need to be sure that we are here to support their growth, support their development, but also be there when things are not going well on their sides. It's not consultative selling, it's really something that is in between, something where actually you are really part of the impact of their business. Okay, our product is to fuel IT company. Most of the companies that are customer of this quadrant are tech companies. They don't need their rep to be there every day, but we need to be there to make sure that the impact that we have is actually delivering business opportunity for them. And then we have now teams that we are building up step by step on this quadrant. It's not a pleasure because you see just your overhead growing big time with roles that you never anticipated before, pre-sales engineer, whatever, evangelist, and so on. This is heavy in terms of FTE, so we are very careful at building up. At the same time, we are growing here, first and foremost, because this quadrant is delivering way later in time. So that's our first tool. Anyone joining our organization will be exposed to this tool and understand how things are moving on our side, and more importantly, where they relate on this map in order to develop the business. The second tool is the treasure. You don't go for a treasure hunt if you don't have treasure. And here we have to be very, very assertive also and make choice, make decisions. And by making decisions, you will obviously decide not to take care about some customer. Let me give you the tip that we did come up with at OVHcloud. We decided actually that there is a behavior in buying that is like when you need a lot of hand-holding, you really are looking for something that we can't deliver at OVHcloud. So it's useless to turn back and ask the organization, I need someone to come with me to explain. It's useless. So we are very focused on making sure that the profile of the customer that we have to attract at OVHcloud are customers that understand the technology that we are selling. We don't have the resources, we don't have the means, the funding to evangelize and to promote or to put some ads everywhere so people relate and at some point will get back to us. So we did a segmentation, we called them builders and buyers, which I think is something that relates pretty well also to the SaaS industry. You know, some people that understand, they build their technical solution we can be with them because they understand the technology. Those that are just buying and consuming the technology without knowing and not interested in how it's made, not our game. So we're very specific about that. And then once we do that, we go for the treasure. And the treasure is very simply put, once we have one transaction with someone, is there an opportunity for them to grow with us? How can we help them grow with us? So the second tool that we offer is the possibility for people to understand how to assess very quickly the profile of the organization that we are engaging with to determine whether yes or no, they are a good fit for us. With these two tools, we create a machine, a process, a systematic approach of saying no, which sounds completely crazy for people willing to develop business. But I'm back to the title of this keynote. This is business, not busyness. And right now, the biggest disease that is in business development in this industry is busyness. How much time are we spending doing things that actually are not delivering? How much time are we spending talking about things without real engagement? How much time are we driving leads with poor qualifications or actually questionable qualifications? And you know, we can blame tools, we can blame organizations and so on, but it starts way from the beginning. At the time we decide which segment are we going to pursue, and we have to be determined, and this is very simple. And here again, you know, I manage the sales worldwide for OVHcloud, so every day I receive calls from sales rep telling me, yes, but this one is different. No. There are people that are, yes, different people. Organizations, they have common pattern. And efficiency is being driven by the fact that we accept to really pursue in one segment rather than another one. The final tool of the third is the compass. The compass is a set of action that determines the daily activity of our colleagues. If you are a digital sales, you have a playbook and you know every morning, every week, the kind of task you have to perform, and you can relate to that and you can measure the performance. It's extremely important. As I said earlier, the sales function is made of actions that are meant to drive engagement with customers. So you have to trigger, you have to initiate a conversation, you have to initiate or trigger interest. So you can wait for this to happen, but you're going to be disappointed volume-wise, or you can engage with the market. So this is the set of actions that are actually making sure that people are engaging as they should in order to really drive enough interest so we can sustain our workload and the business plan that we are aiming to go for. We made plenty of mistakes. We rushed too far here. Too many people, experts coming over. And even for them, it was a miserable decision that we made because they were not able to really engage with the market because they were not ready nor equipped to do that. We made the mistakes of having people that were the king of consultative selling, trying to sell to heavy, deep tech people. That didn't work either, right? And then we are making also the mistakes of having salespeople busy looking at what transaction is coming in the digital segment while they should be talking to someone else. We make mistakes every day. But we have this common reference, and we call each other accountable for that. And there is a consensus to say, yeah, you're right. So that's, it's my first time in this event, actually. I just look at the title, B2B Rock, so I thought I would only talk about B2B sales. And I thought I would share with you those kind of things. This model is obviously, when you engage or join OVHcloud, is a 2 days training to integrate and everything. But it starts with those 3 principles. A map, so you understand where you stand, what's your product fit, so to speak, and the market fit you want to go for. And then once you're there, you understand the kind of value transactions you are after. And more importantly, with the playbook, you know what to do. This is what's driving efficiency. Not the product. The activity of the people to make it happen. If you have on top of that the product, then you're blessed. So that's what I wanted to introduce to you. And that's it on my side, and more than happy to answer any questions you can have. And if you were expecting a huge pitch of OVHcloud, you can visit the booth. They are better than me to do that. Well, thank you very much for attending today.
Bye.